Charlie, don't surf!
Welcome to the regular Menthol podcast. We would discuss Kino movies. My name is Tate and my co-host is Chris.
Hello.
We give a little thoughts on the movie, our experience growing up with it. Then we discuss specific scenes that we liked, followed up with a Kino rating. Now, oh my God, bud, here we are, the final week of Vietnam season. How do you feel?
Oh, man. What a season it's been. We started out with Platoon, then Full Metal Jacket, and here we are with Apocalypse Now. Personal favorite, I must say. How has your Vietnam season gone in the past month?
Well, it's gone extremely fast, honestly. I don't even understand how time works anymore. I'm outside of space and time.
I'm outside of space and time. And time is a flat circle. Time is a flat circle, folks. It's that simple.
Time's moving too fast where I get in this routine and everything is just moving super fast. So
do you think that's the
before you know it, I'm going to be 50.
Do you think that's that way for everybody? Because in the past, probably like, I don't know, maybe 10 years, I've noticed this where it just seems like months are minutes. And it never used to be that way. I would say up until I was probably like, I don't know, maybe 20s, early 20s. And then it just 30s, it just takes off.
I think it's due to new experiences, novel experiences. If you're experiencing the same thing every day, time goes faster.
You think so?
If you do, that's my theory. I'd
agree with that. I'd agree with that.
If you randomly do stuff outside of your routine, suddenly time slows down. But wait a second, bud. Could it be possible that someone is just on a dial somewhere and they're making seconds faster?
Yes, that's it.
Just ever so slightly.
That's actually it.
That's a real thing. Listen, folks, look at your watch. Are the seconds getting faster?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's alarming. Crazy? It's alarming. I notice it. Put it that way. I can definitely notice it.
I guess what I'm saying, I'm getting depressed. Vietnam season's over, folks. And what that means is we're now entering August.
Oh, God. Yeah. I mean, fall.
Oh, no, it's 8:30. It's getting a little dark.
Yeah. Yep.
A little dark, a little earlier.
Nothing like, I mean, the best thing about summer is there's that day in June where it's the longest day of the year. Yeah. And you walk outside and it's like, I don't know, 8:30 and it's still light out, which is awesome.
Still light out.
Yeah. But now, I mean, fall, don't get me wrong, fall is such a great season. I mean, depending where you're at, we're in, Southeast PA. So you get the seasons pretty heavy for each season. But, yeah, fall is very cozy, Get yourself a nice apple cider. Go to a pumpkin patch.
Fall's my favorite season.
Yeah.
But I don't have the nostalgia for fall. The reason fall is my favorite season is because you got football back. You got better weather typically. Yeah. And you got a little crisp in the air. You got Halloween, which is my favorite, of course. But the thing is that I'm nostalgic for summer meaning something for me because it used to be my favorite because for the obvious reasons of being off from school.
Right.
And now it's just this block of time that goes by fast.
Yep. Simple as. It's depressing. It's very depressing.
Yeah, it is a little depressing, honestly. I'm waiting for Blockbuster to open back up so I can go there on Friday nights again.
How was your week in the crypto realm?
My week in the crypto realm is altcoins started pumping again.
Go on.
And then they went back down slightly. I'm waiting for Bitcoin dominance to go down to 40 and then Doc Brown, you're really you're going to see some serious shit.
Well, that XRP surge that everyone was raging about kind of tapered off. That's about the extent of my crypto knowledge, but yeah, we
haven't seen anything yet.
We haven't seen anything
folks. Yet. We have not seen
2 more weeks.
Two more weeks. Man, I'll tell you what, 2 more weeks, everything. Oh my God.
All right. Well, talk to me about this movie, Apocalypse Now. Give me a description of this thing.
Well, this is a descent into madness and the rejection of lies. a Green Beret colonel seemingly goes off the reservation and starts fighting the war his own way. The military brass send a special forces captain on a mission to kill him, specifically because the guy went off script and went off the reservation, and they don't like that.
No, they don't, folks. No, they do not. Well, I will say, of all the Vietnam movies, this one is my favorite. It's, for me, kind of like the most psychological, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Probably why it's my favorite. That's my kind of movies. But yeah, I mean, there are the battle scenes, which, you know, you kind of want to see. But it's just like a whole vibe, this movie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, Platoon is your more war, the general experience of your average guy in Vietnam type movie.
Yeah.
Yep. Full Metal Jacket is kind of like this thing about psychologically breaking down a soldier and turning him into a killer, and what that looks like, the repercussions of that. This movie is almost just this descent into hell.
Yeah.
This journey into madness down this river.
Right.
And once you get past the bridge in this movie and you start getting into Kurtz's territory, it's like, we're not even in Vietnam anymore. Technically, we're not in Vietnam, but like, we're not actually in the Vietnam War anymore. This is another dimension.
Well, technically, they're in Cambodia, is he not? Isn't Kurtz in Cambodia?
Yeah, yeah.
What do you even know about Cambodia, honey? What do you know about Cambodia?
What do you know about Cambodia?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. So, speaking of, this movie is actually notorious for being "quote unquote" production hell. If you've heard this before, you hear these stories regularly from movies. Another one that I'm actually a big fan of is Island of Dr. Moreau. I actually legit enjoy that movie, but I've heard that the production, there's YouTube videos you can watch. There's also like a documentary with like the director. It's maybe the funniest documentary ever, but that was also a production hell. This movie as well was completely insane from what I've heard. Harvey Keitel was actually slated to be Willard, and 2 weeks into shooting got replaced by Martin Sheen. I guess Coppola's whole thing was he didn't like the way he portrayed it, which is something, you know, in Hollywood, you think they would have ironed out maybe, I don't know, you know, a month ahead of schedule, which was kind of alarming. But yeah, there's another kind of notorious thing about this movie was, you know, the opening scene where he's like going crazy in the hotel room. He was actually Sheen was actually drunk in this.
Yeah, he
was still battling, I guess, you know, alcohol issues at the time or whatever. So, you know, what better person to replace Harvey Keitel with? But it just goes to show you the wild west of movies in the 70s and 80s. Oh, dude's wasted. Let's just, you know, film him. Whatever.
Let's film him.
We'll get something out of it.
The guy punches a mirror and actually cuts the hell out of his hand in this scene.
Yeah.
Let's just, I mean, the guy is actually drunk in this scene, it looks like. And if you watch the movie, if you watch this scene, he actually looks completely out of his mind. Right. It starts with that.
It's a good opening, though. I mean, it's like he's kind of caged up, and it's really cool because he talks about how he wanted to go home his first tour, and then once he got home, all he could think about was getting back to the jungle, which is kind of cool. Just gives you like a glance into his psyche.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think? Because that's where it starts off with this monologue, and it's this, you know, this voiceover from Sheen. What do you think about the idea of voiceovers and monologues in movies?
I mean, initially when I first started getting into movies, I kind of hated it. I thought it was distracting, takes away from it. But I mean, honestly, for this movie, that might be like the thing that holds this movie together. The narration and the voiceover. I mean, I couldn't see this movie without the voiceover narration. What about you?
Yeah, like that's my favorite part of this movie is his insights, what's going on inside his mind. And he's almost comparing himself and Kurtz's life.
Right.
And the longer it goes on, he starts admiring him more and more.
Well, he can understand him. Yeah, he can understand him. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
But I just think the ideas of like a voiceover or monologue is pretty, I guess, controversial in some movies where, like a film like Blade Runner, where they add the voiceover work and it's like this in a director's cut, it's not there, you know?
I mean, there's definitely times I think it might be inappropriate. Let's put it that way. And it might take away from it, but no question about it. This movie is, you know, and Martin Sheen, I'm not the biggest Martin Sheen guy, but absolutely kills it in this movie. And like I said, his voiceover with this, it gives you another layer, a better feel for what's going on.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
The level of dedication and preparation for this movie. I mean, Sheen has a mental breakdown during this movie and almost dies from a
I've heard this. I've heard this.
I mean, that's unbelievable to think about. That talk about dedication to your craft.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that just from I've heard the story of that, but do you know anything on it? Can you elaborate?
I don't know the specifics. I have to imagine that if the guy's having a heart attack, what is he, 38?
Yeah,
in this
dude,
movie?
that's kind of insane.
Is he just doing massive amounts of lines and just having a heart attack on set?
You'd think that might be at 38, that might be it.
He does look kind of ripped in this movie.
Yeah.
So
it's
maybe that goes together.
Hard to say.
First time watching this movie, King. Talk to me about that.
You know, I was younger. I would say I can't remember specifically because I can't remember anything these days. I have amnesia. But I was probably 18 or so, I would give or take. But again, it was one of those where I saw it, didn't really understand the context, didn't really, wasn't really into it, but just kind of watched it for entertainment. But yeah, it wasn't until recently, I would say, rewatching it, that I took anything out of it. This is, for me, again, this is my Vietnam movie. So this is my summertime movie. Typically watching this thing at like 1 a.m. on a Saturday when I've been boozing and grilling all day. So make it like halfway through and pass out.
It is strange how you can watch this movie in the background. You can just have this movie on.
Oh, yeah, dude, for sure. No question about it. Yeah. I mean,
despite the gravity of it.
Yeah.
The gravity of this movie is extreme.
That's what I was telling you about today. I was telling you how it's things like this where this movie, I can watch it, right? But it's not until I've watched a ton of movies in my day where I watch the movie for entertainment. I'm not really paying attention to it. I'm sure many people do this, but it's only recently I'm like dissecting movies where you watch it and you catch so much. And even when you're like focused on it, you have to watch it a couple times to where you're fully engaged and understand like all those little nuances and those little things storyline wise, which this movie does a phenomenal job with. How about yourself?
My first time watching this movie was in college, and it was right away. I took some kind of class that was a comparison between movies. I guess it was like literature or something. Movies and the book this is based on, Heart of Darkness, and the comparison between the two and everything. But the guy who ran the class took such joy out of it. It's like, hey, everyone, we're going to be watching Apocalypse.
Yeah, right.
I was like, what?
He's that guy?
Like, what is this silliness? Like, I'm paying all this money to go to college.
To watch a 3-hour movie?
To watch a 3-hour movie in class. And I just remember he was so amped up about the fact that the movie starts with the song The End by The Doors. He's like, this is great. Like, the Doors start playing. I was like, what? What?
Was he a Vietnam vet?
I don't think so. I think he was just some dude that loved like the Doors and the 70s and Apocalypse Now.
The reason he's a professor was to pass on his admiration and love for the Doors.
But think, dude, I mean, this was probably in 2002, September 2002, 1 year after 9/11. So imagine the context through which A, I'm watching it for the first time, and B, this guy's trying to explain stuff in the movie. We're a year after 9/11. We had not even invaded Iraq yet, folks. That's on the menu in the next year. But tensions are heating up. We're talking about weapons of mass destruction, and all the themes come out
WMDs.
where they have to, the themes of this movie where you have to come up with all these goofy reasons to go to war and all these justifications, and you have to fight a just war.
Oh yeah.
Right?
We'll get into that.
Very powerful time. Don't really remember other than the fact that, hey, we're watching this movie. And I was like, this movie kind of rules.
Simple as.
You're literally me. I'm sure you got one. You're literally me. Who'd you identify with?
I would say Kilgore. Yeah, dude, are you kidding me? He's the type of dude that latches onto something and, you know, makes it his absolute priority. In this case, surfing. Charlie, don't surf. It's just like, cause Lance is there, right? And I actually suffer from the same illness as he does. So I would say my secondary character, though, which is character rules, is Roach. Do you remember Roach?
Yeah.
Roach is this dude who's just sleeping in the middle of this firefight at the bridge scene, and they wake him up like, Roach, because he's got like a grenade launcher, and this like dude, this Viet Cong guy is talking shit to him. He just listens to it like, hey, Roach. He's like, you need a flare? He's like, nah. He just listens. Doesn't even look at it. Just listens where the guy's yelling, just shoots this grenade out and just kills him. Like, you don't hear the guy talking anymore, the Viet Cong guy. So yeah, Roach is my secondary character, but I'd say, yeah, I can relate to Kilgore. He's just insane enough. How about yourself?
Well, I guess I just identify with Kurtz.
Fair enough.
I mean, for one thing, I guess I'm at this point in my life, I'm extremely black-pilled. There's no hope.
Yeah.
There's no way out of this situation that we're in as a country.
Oh boy.
We're not voting our way out, bud. But, you know, I'll come up with my own way of doing things and point out to these authorities that they're wrong. And even if it gets me in trouble, I'm going off the reservation, dog. I'm just going to do it my own way.
Yeah. we'll get into Kurtz a little bit later, but yeah, you start to watch this and you're really paying attention. A lot of what his philosophies make a lot of sense, although they're a little bit insane, but pretty.
Well, you're going to have to accept this is ultimate truth.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't accept lies. I think that's the crux of this movie. Is the rejection of lies and the morality of liars.
Yeah. Let's dig into it.
Kino scene, you know,
give me some Kino scenes here.
I mean, it's just unbelievable that it starts off with Willard waiting for orders in his room, and he just sitting there talking about. Well, he's not talking; he's having this inner monologue, and he's talking about his thoughts on the war and being in his first tour, going home, and wanting to be back in the jungle, even though he didn't want to be there the first time. It's just like this, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place where you can't be home, but you can't be in Vietnam. And so the whole time you're in one place, you want to be at the other place.
Yeah. It shows, it gives you an idea of the magnitude and the gravity of that situation, that experience had on these dudes. It's like, I'm sure the same thing was, you hear a lot of people, I'm sure a lot of people who went to Iraq and Afghanistan who kind of had the same kind of experiences, if you will. But yeah, it can flatten a man, that's for sure.
Well, not only that, but it's like the ultimate rush, the ultimate high.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily like it at the point that you're in it because you could die at any second. It's terrifying. But that feeling, you're never going to get that when you're back home.
It's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
That's why he says, like, he divorced his wife.
Is that what happened?
Talk to his wife. He mentions he didn't even talk to her.
Oh yeah, yeah.
When he got home.
I remember that.
He just sent the divorce papers.
Yeah.
Because it's just not doing it. Nothing can fulfill that high.
Yeah. That's
the way I took it.
Yeah, no, I'm sure you're right.
And you know, like he already did all these. This is his third tour, I believe, in Vietnam, and he's part of this MACV SOG group, which is this joint special operations command that they had back in the Vietnam era.
Mm-hmm.
And so he already did these assassination missions before this one. And it's like, you look at Sheen, and he doesn't exactly look like some kind of insane assassin.
Yeah, exactly.
It just looks like a normal dude. But it's part of the, I love this in this movie, is he's this unassuming guy, and then at certain parts of this movie, he explodes with rage and violence.
Yes. He's Willard maxing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Very powerful. And he has this great line when he's doing his monologue, and he's saying, like, I wanted a mission, and for my sins, they gave me one.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good one. Anyways, when he goes into the trailer and talks to Harrison Ford and the FBI guy and the general, which is a pretty interesting scene when you kind of watch the rest of the movie and you like think back to that multiple times of their motives of recruiting him and doing it. And it comes full circle. Very important scene though. But one thing that kind of stuck out at me was, you know, they get in this mission to go upriver to track down Kurtz, right? And capture him. I don't know if they told him to capture or kill him. Like, the first thing I think of is, why is this necessary, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're sending a platoon of guys to track down this AWOL colonel, right? Guys deep in the bushes with these indigenous people, seemingly never to be heard from again. Who knows if he's even alive? I'm sure they had ways to tell, but I guess my question is, like, why would you even care? Why not just let it play itself out? Why are they so concerned about this one guy to put, you know, a captain and 4 other dudes' lives in danger?
Well, the way I looked at it was that he could actually win the war, and the top brass and the intelligence doesn't want that.
Yeah.
They don't want to actually win this war. They want to fight the war for as long as possible and keep this going. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter how many bodies it costs. They just want this perpetual war going.
Right.
To spend money, blah, 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 keep a distraction, keep people divided on different sides. If Kurtz gets in there and starts doing his asymmetric warfare with the indigenous groups of people there,
right,
he's going to actually win the war.
Maybe, but the way I look at it is, I kind of understand their motive, but you know, when you finally see Kurtz's group of people, they're not these VC guys who, I mean, they are armed with guns, right? Because he has some defectors from the U.S. Army, but that's just a whole different group than the Viet Cong people who you see, you know, amongst, you know, the regular Vietnamese citizens, right? It'd be a tough sell for me to be like, all right, this matters that much that we got to take this guy out. But you can tell throughout the rest of the movie that, you know, they got something up their ass about him. But especially
that's another thing
when you have this dude Jerry in that room saying, you know, the iconic line, "Terminate with extreme prejudice." That's like his only line.
Well, that's I started thinking about that earlier when I was watching this the other day, and I thought, maybe there's more to it, because they don't actually send an assassin after Kurtz until Kurtz eliminates those 4 people that were
double agents,
seemingly communist double agents. They worked for the South Vietnamese army. They were like colonels in the South Vietnamese army.
Right.
But he found their group getting ambushed a lot, and then he took these 4 people out. He assassinated them, and the enemy activity went to 0, they said.
Yeah, and it's funny because they say later on, I don't know if it's a voiceover for Willard or Kurtz, saying that they spent months getting, you know, evidence of these 4 before they took it into their own hands, which, I mean, the guy does everything right, Kurtz, you find out. He's the ultimate
but then you got to, then I started wondering, I started thinking to myself, well, okay, who are these guys then? Are they double agents, or are they like CIA assets who are working for both sides? And they have to give the NVA some kind of information to be looked at as a legitimate double agent. Right.
Well, that guy Jerry is either FBI or CIA, seemingly.
Yeah, he's some intelligence guy, obviously, because he's got that civilian clothes on.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like one of these guys. This is some kind of thing where Kurtz killed these people, and these people were some kind of intelligence assets.
Right.
Or someone in the CIA or these guys are actually communists.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's one of these things where you don't know what actually transpired, but he went off the script and killed these people.
That's the most important.
And that's what triggered them to start the assassination mission.
Right. Yeah.
There's more to it than just he's off the reservation. It's like, not only is he off, but he's actually winning the war by fighting asymmetric warfare, and he's potentially killing intelligence assets.
Mm. We'll dig a little deeper on that later on, but you get introduced to Kilgore on the beach scene, and I know it's just an establishing shot, right? But there's like 40 of these helicopters that are flying all around where the beach is, and it almost feels like extras in a movie walking in the background. That's the vibe that I got. Are there that? I mean, they do send out 11 choppers for the raid against the quote unquote hairy area. But dude, I swear I must have counted like 30 different helicopters in just that opening scene, because they have the music playing, they're establishing. I get it all, but it's just stood out to me as completely hilarious.
This is a movie where it seems like there's a lot of extras in the background.
Dude, again, getting back to that production hell, I watched some, I don't know if it was like a special on it or just YouTube videos, and just the amount, people don't understand, man, the amount of coordination that goes on. Like, I did a movie with Will Smith back in the day, and it was a huge production. And, you know, you have B-list actors, you have a ton of extras, but what you don't realize is how many people in the crew there are. And there's different crew to corral, like different sets of extras. It's just insanity, dude, on these sets. But that was in an actual controlled environment, dude, with green screens and all that bullshit. This is like in the elements, right?
Yeah.
And there's, you know, weather, there's shit going on. And this is why you really got to have respect for these older movies, you know, 70s, 80s, you know, you'll see, we'll get into a bunch of movies, you know, down the road with the same situations. But yeah, dude, you got to respect it. Corralling all this, and you'll see it in these shots. Like, I think when they're finally leaving, I don't know, it's when they're leaving on the boat to go towards Kurtz, and it's at that bridge scene when they're pulling off and everything's exploding. Like, you got to get that just right, and it takes a huge effort to be able to do all that. It's completely insane. So when you see this scene on the beach, you know, or even just the scene where they're shooting up that plaza area with all those, like, you know, there's some VC there and some civilians. That's just a whole effort, man, to get all that stuff locked in and coordinated. And just kudos to them for doing that, because that's very difficult to do in the elements.
Yeah.
And I believe I do remember something about where they were having issues with helicopters with this. There was something where the army didn't want to give them helicopters. And he was,
I can see that.
Coppola was like arguing with them about it, and he broke some kind of rules. I vaguely recall, but I'm sure it was just insane. But if you have a chance, people, look into that. It's interesting to watch, just, you know, how bad this whole production went and how great the movie turned out to be.
Yeah. I mean, it is wild. And then it cuts to Kilgore, you know, and why does he even care about this mission? He doesn't care about this guy, this Willard dude and his mission. He's just kind of chilling on this beach, grilling, whatnot. And then what happens? He finds out that one of the dudes in Willard's group is this guy named Lance, who's a professional surfer.
Dude.
Immediately lights up. Immediately is like, all right, let's go do this mission to blow up this village so we could just take over the spot for surfing. Like, I love how he's puts on a face of this serious guy, and all this stuff matters to him, but it really doesn't. It's just nonsense stuff he's saying. And then he's like, all I care about is surfing.
This is such a great character. Well, does he even care? I mean, he cares about surfing, but I think that's his like shred of humanity he has left and just normalcy, right? If that makes sense. But he's really into the war. But I just love that they introduce Lance. It's like there's this dude they're telling him like, oh, he's holding in his guts, sir. You know, you don't want him to drink from your canteen. He's like, any man holding in his guts is good enough to drink from my canteen. And then as he's pouring the water on this guy's mouth, they say Lance Johnson's here or whatever his name is. And he just stops and stands up and he's like, where? Completely doesn't give a shit about this dude anymore. And just like beelines it over to Lance. It's so good.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff you could talk about in this movie. This character, Kilgore, seems to be like another juggernaut character.
Yeah.
Like Barnes in Platoon, where he's just walking around and bombs are going off around him, and he seemingly doesn't care, while everyone else is diving out of the way, scared.
There's a bomb that goes off right near him. He just looks over at it and he looks back.
Yeah. And it's like another guy with the aura of just some kind of divine protection. You know he's not going to get killed.
Simple as.
You just know looking at him.
Yep.
You know? And like another thing with this film is the accuracy is we were talking earlier about like in the other movies where they had 20 round mags, and this film's in 1969.
Right.
It's set in 69, and they have the 30 round mags in this movie, which is interesting because I feel like the 20 round mags were more prevalent. But it seems like every guy in this movie has the 30 round mags.
Well, that's what I was asking you about when we did Platoon. Or I'm sorry, Full Metal Jacket is, you know, why do they have these short magazines? You would think they'd have something longer. But
yeah, the 30 rounders existed. Apparently they weren't as reliable.
Right.
I don't know how accurate that is, and also they just weren't as prevalent either because they already had a ton of the 20 round mags in country. So they probably we're just going to keep using them.
Right.
Instead of outfitting everyone. Hey, now everyone take 30 round mags, you know?
Right.
But this is like a couple years later after those other movies. So it's not totally out of the realm of possibility.
Right.
And also, the accuracy of Willard having the tiger stripe. Like Willard, if you notice, everyone has the olive drab.
Yeah, that stood out to me. I'm like, why does this guy have a different outfit? What does that mean?
Yeah, he's in this. He's a captain in this MACV SOG Special Forces group, and I guess those guys wore tiger stripe. Believe it or not, I guess we're just gonna give these guys different camouflage.
Kind of weird, but
like he rocks a 20 to M16 in this movie, but those MACV SOG guys, they were like the ones that started messing around with barrel lengths on their rifles and everything, getting the shorter barrel rifles, the Car 15s, even shorter, even like 10.5 inch. That's where they started playing around with all these different barrel lengths, but they found that it messed up with the dwell time and the bolt going back and forth.
Right. And the accuracy and the velocity of the bullet.
The lethality of the round, less velocity on the round and everything. And this guy's just going out on a mission with this random boat. So he probably just has the regular M16s on board. So he's just going to use that.
Yeah. It's funny because Willard says something kind of important here. He's like, if that's how Kilgore fought the war, I begin to wonder what they really had against Kurtz. It wasn't just insanity and murder. There was enough of that to go around for everyone. Like that. You know what I mean? He's starting to really see, all right, this is which is kind of weird though, because he's already done 2 tours. He knows how things are.
Yeah.
Unless he's like, just gets thrown into this situation, which obviously the Kilgore situation, that whole camp is completely insane and unhinged. But yeah, he makes a good point though. It's like, what do they really have against this dude when this is seemingly okay? Right. And it's happening.
They're similar characters.
Exactly.
The difference being Kilgore is taking orders.
Right.
I mean, he's running the show in his local spot, but he's not doing anything that would be not cleared.
Right.
If something wasn't cleared, he wouldn't do it.
Right.
It's the same guy. So, I mean, it makes you wonder what's really going on here. But to our earlier point, it probably is something deeper, some kind of intelligence asset thing.
Yeah. No, it's just, I'm just chronologically showing you. It's, at this point in the movie, he's starting to put pieces together.
The further the movie goes along, it seems like he sympathizes more and more with Kurtz.
Yeah, well, I mean, the things that he's learning, how could he not?
Mm-hmm.
And the things he's been through. And like you said, he aligns himself to Kurtz, so it makes a whole lot of sense. But then they end up getting away from Kilgore. That's probably the funniest part of the whole thing, aside from him trying to force everyone to go surfing in an active firefight and bombing. It's like they get away. I guess he steals a board. Lance steals one of the boards. And the part that stood out to me the most was they steal the board. He's walking Lance away from him. He's like, Lance, get back here. He's like, do you want to go back? He's like, no. He's like, then just run. Like they just bolt to the boat, right? That's already dropped in the water, steal one of the surfboards and then like take off. And the best part of it was it's like nighttime at this point, and they have seemingly like a couple choppers that are, they have this plea to Lance to give the board back because he likes the board from Kilgore. But I'm watching, I'm listening to him like, hold on a second. This is an actual recording. So Kilgore did a recording playing for his board back and just has it playing on repeat on the speaker system, which I don't know why. I just thought that was funny as hell. Just it's a nice touch for
I don't know why he'd think that would work. It was just funny to think that he's going to like guilt these guys into giving the board back. And by doing so by sending a helicopter out with a recording.
It's so good.
There's not much that happens, I would say, in these scenes in between. They're just on the boat.
Exactly. Yeah. They're all just kind of filler scenes, just things kind of give you an idea of what goes on.
Another thing that we should mention is that I don't even know what version I watched of the movie.
Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 different cuts of this movie, to my understanding. Some of them leave out the Playboy part. I guess one of them does not have the part where you see the French people near Cambodia. But yeah, to your point,
I don't think the theatrical cut had any of that stuff.
No.
And
probably not, because they probably shot 6 to 8 hours, I would guess, of film, and they had to do a bunch of cuts. So
yeah,
I mean, do you think about that? 3 hours, you could sell that back in '79 to Hollywood, but they're going to tell you to trim it down.
I think the theatrical cut was like 2 hours and 20 minutes or something, and then in 2001 they released some kind of new director's cut. And then they released like another cut after that. And, it does, I mean, you can argue one way or the other, but it seems like it does make the movie just drag on some of these scenes, even though they're very interesting. And yeah, we could sit here and watch them and everything and break them down.
Good way of putting it. Yeah. They're interesting nonetheless, but yeah, it does drag it out, but there's entertainment there. It paints a good picture. That's like any director, man. You're gonna shoot that much film. You're gonna have a hard time. That's like your baby. You're gonna have a hard time trimming out parts that you don't want to take out any scene, right? Mm-hmm. You just have to strategically decide which way it's gonna come together best, right? And the studio's gonna tell you how much they want taken out.
So they're back on the boat now. And it just, it cuts. This is my favorite part of the movie is it cuts to Willard looking at Kurtz's file.
Yeah.
And it's him again, just this voiceover monologue. And, he starts to discover he admires Kurtz because, something happened in Kurtz's first tour and he wonders what happened and made him decide to join special forces and, at 38 years old. Incredibly old to be doing such an insane thing and extremely out of place for someone that old.
Yeah, he's like double the next guy's age.
Yeah. And it's just, it's intriguing to me. It shows whether he saw in the first war, something was fake. Something it was fake that he saw, and it made him basically lose his mind, is his theory, right? And he starts wondering about that. And it's interesting, and Willard himself, like he is in special forces, so he's comparing his own experience with that of Kurtz, saying it almost kicked his ass when he was a young man, right? Doing like the training course and everything. And I don't know, it just every time he does one of these little monologues, I find this is the best part of the movie. He's always saying it's Kino lines.
All that great dialogue, but he's kind of adding more and more insight to Kurtz and why he's made the decision he's made. It's fleshing out that character, only to the reveal of having Marlon Brando, doing it in person where it's completely insane, but we'll get to that.
This is like, he has this line, like you find out in this backstory that Brando or Kurtz is, this West Point grad, third generation. He was being bred to be a general.
Yeah, it makes no sense whatsoever. Something something happened. He saw something.
Right. And he goes, tough motherfucker. He could have gone for general, but he went for himself instead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's like, that right there is like, he doesn't care about this running this army or whatever.
Yeah. Because he says
what he cares about is winning the war, and it starts to get into this philosophy of Kurtz of,
that's all it is, dude. It's
this is a Nietzschean Übermensch.
Well, that, but yeah, he realizes it's a goofy war, right? And he doesn't care. So he's like, I don't want to be a general in this war. Right? Yeah. He's like, I've seen through the facade of all this and what's going on. That's probably why they hate him. He's going to expose this war. We'll get to that. Talk to me about this Playboy buddy scene.
Yeah, the boat, it keeps going down. Imagine you're in a boat in this river in Vietnam, and all of a sudden it's nighttime, it's dark. All of a sudden you just start seeing these lights, and it's a stadium. And it's like this dock where you can pick up supplies, but they have this stadium, and sure enough, they're bringing in Playboy bunnies to do these erotic dances on stage. Now, just think about how surreal that would be when you're in Vietnam.
It'd be alarming. Yeah.
I do. This is one of my favorite scenes in the movie is they're zipping up to the dock. They dock and everything. And Willard tells his guys to go get diesel fuel. And he goes up to the guy who's, handling, giving all these guys supplies and everything. And the guy's giving them, this guff about giving them, like, where are you going? What's your destination? And you can't tell him. And so he's hesitant about giving him the fuel.
Right.
And then Willard's just like, he's with me. Destination's classified. And he starts giving him hesitation again. And Willard just grabs his neck, pulls him down in a act of extreme violence. And you're like, oh, this guy is a killer. This guy is capable of extreme levels of violence. And most of the time, 90% of the time, is completely cool and collected. But his outbursts of violence tells you that this guy actually is who he says he is.
Well, dude, the question is I know what you're saying, but was he really giving that dude shit? Like, no. You watch this, the guy was just doing his job, right? And he's just so unhinged. And he hasn't been. That's what's kind of odd about it. The guy doesn't, he's just like, sorry, Captain, whatever. And then he just grabs him, like, yanks him down. And then the guy, like, overly apologizes by giving him stadium seating and gives him a bottle of, his private stash kind of thing. It was just kind of bizarre.
Well, you're seeing how very little patience this guy has for any kind of BS. He's asking for fuel and you're not giving it to him immediately. And he's asking you where you're going and it's classified. And then he questions it again and he's not having that. He's very little patience, this guy.
Did you ever think about the fact that if you were in Vietnam, you could just be like, it's classified at like any
It's
given
classified.
moment. And it's as long as you're just not just a regular soldier, you could just be like, it's classified. Like, yeah, give him the nod, the classified nod. It's classified. All right. Yep. Proceed.
It's interesting to think about because in these movies, you know, Willard just walking up to people and being like, yeah, like we got to go somewhere. Like, how would you know exactly who this guy is or, you know, what does that mean to me? Like, you have to go somewhere, blah, blah, blah. Or he's like, where's your commanding officer?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like a lot of these places, they don't even have a commanding officer because everyone's so strung out that they're just going on instinct at this point, like at the bridge or like the one outpost where it's raining. It's like, I love in these movies, and Joker does it a little bit in Full Metal Jacket. He's just walking, he gets off the helicopter, he's walking around and he just asks people, like, imagine if you just went and were a time traveler and time traveled to Vietnam, to the Vietnam War, and you were just dressed as you were today.
No, I'd be dressed as
like,
Vietnam
what would you
dress,
do?
Bro. Got that Vietnam dress.
Like, you'd have to get your olive drab on and just start walking up to dudes and be like, hey,
who's the CO here?
Like, go.
Who's the CO? Well,
and then they'd be like, what are you doing here? I'd be like, it's classified.
Classified. Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, well, it's classified. Don't worry about it. Like, oh, all right, whatever. It's Vietnam. But they're leaving. The Playboy scene when they're leaving was interesting because it kind of builds on what I was saying earlier. But Willard says, no wonder Kurtz put a weed up Command's ass. The war was being run by a bunch of 4-star clowns, and they were about to give the circus away.
Yeah.
Like, right there you have it, right? He's kind of now fully understanding what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought that was interesting. Like, when he has these, like you said, when he has these inner monologues, it's great because you could just splice those together and you could just see him develop and put everything together of what the movie's all about, which is kind of cool.
Now, we might be skipping ahead, but you were asking me earlier today, what was their motivation for even getting this guy to do it? Because obviously, he completely sympathizes with Kurtz.
Yeah.
He's almost the same mindset as Kurtz himself. You could see how the last guy they got, Colby, they got another special forces guy, it's revealed, to go and infiltrate the group and kill Kurtz, and he winds up defecting and joining Kurtz.
Yeah, dude.
It's like, why wouldn't Willard do the same thing? He feels the same way. You know, don't they have anyone better to do this kind of job?
I don't know, man. I don't know. But it's funny because Colby sends back a letter. It says, sell to his wife. He says, sell the house, sell the cars, sell the kids. I'm not coming home. It's over. I don't know. You know, you'd think that given that Willard is kind of married to the jungle now from his opening monologue, that Kurtz could get him to kind of convert. And it seems like he's buying into the whole ideology that he has throughout the movie. But there's something in the back of his mind where he's like, this isn't right. Right? Even to where he kills Kurtz at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. But I don't think he's just ready to go fully off the reservation.
I don't either, but it makes you wonder, like, dude, did you ever think that the reason that the last guy joined Kurtz was because he felt the same way as Kurtz?
Right.
And this dude who's like in special forces, did three tours or whatever, he might be feeling the same way as well.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to come up with some different guy to do this kind of job. Someone who doesn't have the exact same background as Kurtz.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anywho, something to think about. But, you know, it goes, after the Playboy scene, it's back on the boat again. And it seems to be a theme in this movie. It's something happens, they're back on the boat. Something happens, they're back on the boat.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know what I mean? They just...
It's their safe place. Yeah. They're just trying to establish that's their go-to, I guess.
He's reading the files again, and it's revealed that Kurtz, you know, has assassinated these 4 people and everything. And it's just more kind of insight into the mind of Kurtz and everything. You find out what's really going on, why this mission is really taking place and everything. Mm-hmm. And again, I just think is the brass, they don't really want this war to, they don't want to win the war. They just want to go on forever. Like the Cold War and domino theory, completely fake, false dichotomy of the left and right in the country to distract you. They want you to divided, distracted, so that you don't see the real enemy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
About right.
This is the best part of the movie is, though, to me, is like, he's just like, there's this sound of admiration in his voice when he's describing the actions of Kurtz.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, he's starting to see it. No question about it.
Then it cuts to, they're still just going upstream again. Kurtz, I have to say, there's a bit of like the Nietzschean Übermensch in Kurtz, where in this next voiceover, Willard does this, he's reading Kurtz's letter to his son.
Right.
The army intercepted his letter to his son. He mentions he's above their lying morality.
There you go.
I'm also a big fan of, he ends the letter, "You have all my faith, your loving father."
Right.
I love that line. "You have all my faith."
Yeah. Well, and then he says at the end of the movie to Willard, if you go back, if you kill me, basically, I'd expect you to go back to my son and tell him that all the things that I did are justified and whatnot. So interesting that, he did all this and would have had this love for his son, but decided it was more important for him to stay there.
Right. And he almost wants to die at the end. And Willard, I think, picks up on that, kills him, takes all his memoirs and everything that he was writing. Mm-hmm. It takes it with him.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
The implication being he's going to give it to his son or whatever. And another thing in this scene where they're back on the boat and everything is, I love the fact that Lance throughout the movie gets more and more unhinged as the movie goes on, where it starts off where he's putting like camouflage face paint on, and the chief's like, "Lance, what are you doing with the paint?" He's like, "Camouflage, sir."
By the end of the movie,
like obviously it's
camouflage, which is kind of alarming.
They're everywhere, Chief. Like he's starting to become completely unglued, and the more the movie goes on, he's at the end of the movie, he's just completely chilling with this tribe.
Yeah,
there's these mountain people on. Like, you don't know this because it's not focusing on him, but Willard's tied up and being like interrogated by Kurtz and everything. Chef's on the boat, gets his head cut off. Where's Lance the whole time? He's chilling with these people, just becoming one of these people.
Yep. And it's funny because he's at the beginning when you see this platoon of people, you're assuming that the last person that's going to survive is Lance.
Yeah.
But he's, besides Willard, the only one that lives, which
is the only
kind of alarming.
Yeah, he makes it out.
But it's where they have the scene going upstream, and Chief says he wants to look at the ship or the other boat, and it's just a bunch of locals that are fishing, and Willard tells him not to stop. Obviously, you know what happens. They shoot everybody. You can just see at that point, Willard is he's just pissed. He's like, this dude's, you can see at the beginning, Chief it's like his boat. And he's like, you're just along for the ride. But by the end of it, he's like, dude, I don't have time for this bullshit. Even to when they get to the bridge and the guy's like, we were expecting you 3 days ago. He doesn't say anything, but it's seemingly it's like, well, we would have been here, but we'd have to get sidetracked on every possible thing. But he says a great line when he shoots the chick, right? Because there's like, oh, we got to get her to a hospital. And he just shoots her. And he's like, I told you not to stop. Now let's go. Yeah. And he's just at that point has there's a really cool small battle between Chief and Willard, which is kind of cool. And right up to the end of Chief's life, where he gets shot with that arrow through the chest. Mm-hmm. As Willard was saying, oh, they're just toy arrows. They're just toy arrows. Don't worry about it. And then Chief catches one right through the chest. And he just like looks at Willard like, you scumbag. Yeah, you lied. Like, we're up here because of you. All the way up to his last breath when Willard's like hovering over him and he grabs him by the neck and tries to pull him down into the arrow to kill him.
Yeah.
That is like a cool little, because they start off cool, right? And it seems like they're kind of boys. And then he even divulges where they're going, because Chief's like, I kind of would like to know where we're going. He's like, it's classified, but That is like a small relationship throughout the movie that I kind of caught on to. That was pretty cool. But
yeah, definitely tension between the two, and they respected each other. But at the end, he was like, "I can't believe you got me killed."
Yeah.
He's like, "You know what? I'm pulling your head right into this arrow."
I don't want to spend too much time on it, but the French outpost scene is kind of Kino, in my opinion. They have the reveal of these dudes when they pull up there is kind of cool because the smoke clears and there's like 15 dudes with rifles. Probably the most badass the French have ever looked, in my opinion.
They have really cool hats.
Yeah,
they have the hat for sure. With the curled up side.
Yep.
And they got a Browning on him. One of the dudes has a Browning automatic machine gun. World War II machine gun, and I'm like, yes,
nice loadout check there. But yeah, it's wild because I read that you wouldn't expect in Cambodia that there'd be like a French colony, but apparently Vietnam was a French colony from 1890 to 1954, which I thought was pretty wild. Didn't know that. But it's cool because they have this scene, right, the dinner scene, and a couple things stand out to me here. Number one, the lighting, which is completely beautiful, right? They have like the golden hour where the sun's setting, and you wonder how many days they shot this because, throughout the whole scene, it's just this like beautiful lighting. But the French officer at the head of the table has this pretty funny mentality. He's like, when Willard asks him, like, when are you guys going to leave? Obviously, they're going to come for you at some point. And he says, this is our home. We're not leaving. We won't accept losing. Right? Since France has lost every other war throughout history. And like, he's like, this piece is ours. He's like, we'd rather die here, right? Because this is our little piece of territory than just go back to France and turn tail and run, which I thought was kind of cool, that mentality. But, and then adding to that, the scene's kind of wild, in my opinion, because they're all sitting down to eat. Everyone's all dressed up and fancy and everything, and talking properly, drinking wine. And then it's like, making small talk, but within minutes of them talking about war and politics, it turns into like complete chaos, right? People are breaking down crying. The accordion dude falls, and it's just complete chaos. And you can just tell Willard's like, I got to get the hell out of here, right? Which kind of fortuitous for him because the table just clears out one by one, these people, and then leaving the chick that's like trying to smash the last one there, who he goes and smokes peyote with and seemingly has sex with. But the scene is great. Just
super attractive. Oh, let me just come upon this random French colony here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have this nice dinner. And this is the middle of Vietnam War, ladies and gentlemen. And by the way, there's just some extremely attractive woman who I'm going to smoke like peyote and or opium with, and just have the sex.
It's just a wild scene because it's like you said earlier, they shot it, and it's like, do they need to put this in there? You're kind of establishing that there was this French colony in Vietnam. Is it necessary? No, but hell, I'm sure that Coppola loved it, and he's like, all right, we got to make room for it.
I mean, I don't even think this is in theatrical. I could be wrong. I don't think this is in the theatrical release, but holy smokes, this is an incredibly shot scene.
Oh, it's great, dude. I love it.
This whole, it's nuts, man.
Yeah.
And you're right. They must have worked hard to shoot that scene at dinner because of the sunlight.
Well, I just always look at it from the lens of, production. It's to get that, you have that time frame of having that lighting, that natural lighting is, as it's just, hey, you got X number of minutes to do this. And with that many people and, the crew and everything, it's just, you got to really lock it in. Just all the different camera angles that it's had to have taken days, but it's a great scene. Yeah. Great scene in my opinion.
So, they get back on the boat. We discuss, they get all these mountain people start launching arrows at them. Right. Chief gets one in the chest.
Right.
Now it's just Willard, Lance, and Chef on the boat. And they're starting to enter into Kurtz's territory. And one of the things that I kind of like is that he makes note of the fact that when he's entering into it, he can feel that it's Kurtz's area.
Right.
Just by aura. Just by aura alone.
And Kurt's aura, bro.
This is what I was talking about when I was like, they're in another dimension. They're leaving the Vietnam War. This is now hell. They're literally going into Doom, the video game. It's like skulls and weird monuments and stuff on fire on the sides of the river now.
Mm-hmm.
And they pull up and it's a great scene. It's just all these mountain people in these little canoes and they're all painted white.
Yeah.
And it's just this haunting scene. And all of a sudden they go right through the middle of them. And they're like, what the hell?
Yeah, and there's like,
what are we?
The tension's wild because there's like this. It's like a bass, right? I don't know if it's a stand-up bass or a bass guitar playing this low riff of like one note, and it's just like giving you this vibe. It's like super scary.
And then all of a sudden, you're just blasted with Dennis Hopper going, "It's all right, it's all right."
Dennis Hopper absolutely rules. Jesus.
Dennis Hopper's just this hippie, like, photojournalist, and he's like, American, I'm an American citizen, American.
So good.
I love, so like, Willard jumps out of the boat, he walks up and he sees this dude, and it's Colby, the guy who had the assassination mission before him, and he's
Colby?
Like, whoa, he's like, Colby. And he looks at him, and it's just a blank stare from Colby right back.
1,000 yard stare.
1,000 yard stare. Here we go. It cuts back to Willard, and he kind of just looks away. Like, this guy's totally lost.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's no point in me even talking to this guy.
Oh, yeah.
He's gone.
Yep.
And we do have to talk about this. There's a promotional picture. This is one of my favorite things about the movie. It's not even in the movie. There's a promotional picture. If you look up on Google, our motto, Apocalypse Now, they had to put in the film somewhere, Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
Like the words.
Yeah.
And they just spray painted it on this rock, our motto, Apocalypse Now. And the only reason that's in the movie is because they had to for some dumb reason from like the movie production company. I have no idea why. But there's this production shot, and it's got these Green Beret dudes that are part of Kurtz's team, and they're just coked out of their minds. Their eyes are like completely wide, just looking crazy. And I'm like, this is it right here. These are the guys. I need to know these guys' backstories. One dude has this AK with the jungle style.
That's a good point, dude. It makes
taped together.
Like each of these guys could have their own movie.
Totally, dude. Like, I want to know the backstory on all these.
That's a good point.
Like coked out maniac looking dudes.
And this also is where we're introduced to Brando, which, I mean, holy smokes, dude. Talk about that production hell. Apparently, this is what happened with Dr. Moreau too, right? He shows up severely overweight, which apparently is why they had him in the shadows for every scene in this movie. But yeah, like I said, same as Dr. Moreau. Who's the common denominator? Just a chubby Brando, right? It's like
Brando out of his mind.
Yeah, just in both movies, he's bald and just trying to keep his head cool. We'll talk about this story when we get to Dr. Moreau, but there's something where like the hat that he wears in that, he wanted it to have like a cooling pot where the water just gets dumped onto his head or some shit. But regardless, I'm drawing the parallels to these two movies. And yeah, so Brando just shows up. Apparently, Coppola's all pissed off because he's just overweight, just seemingly stopped caring about movies at this point, which any actor, I'm sure all these guys wanted to be in this movie. There were a ton of names in this movie, and this guy's just so powerful at this point. He's just like makes light of this whole movie, doesn't care.
He's supposed to show up as this in shape, Green Beret dude, and he shows up fat and out of shape.
So good. He hates Hollywood. He hates Hollywood at this point, Brando. Which, has, with recent goings on, no surprise. Saw it firsthand.
I want to point out that the things that Kurtz says at this point, it's basically like Ubermensch type philosophy where he goes, you have no right to call me a murderer.
Yeah, great.
But I love this next part where he goes, you have a right to kill me.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But you have no right to judge me.
Yeah, dude.
Like, he's saying basically, I'm above normal morality where I believe people have the right to kill each other.
Right.
And that's fine. That's what we're here to do. This is a war.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that these people that are running the war are calling me a murderer and are going to arrest me for murder is completely insane.
Well, he has the other one where he says, I don't know the line exactly, but he's talking about how they don't want him writing the F word on the side of a helicopter because it's vulgar, but they are sure as hell fine with them mutilating innocent people.
Right. They're dropping fire from the helicopter, but not able to write the F word on the side.
He's just blackpilling about the Vietnam War, dude. That's why the brass hates him. This is like coming full circle, and basically the rest of the movie is just his philosophy on things, right? And it's just giving insight. And it's just, I think it's cool because you finally have Willard there in person, and he even puts him in that temporary detention and then lets him out, right? And he just wants Willard, in my opinion, to see, he's like, why are you here, Willard? Or where are you from? He talks to him initially, and then he's just like, you're an errand boy. And then he slowly lets him get insight into his mentality of the military in and of itself, right? And you get the idea that he just thinks it's a bullshit war. And he's fully, truly blackpilled. He just knows everything that's going on. He's like, he's seeing the world for what it is.
But also, he admires the will of the Vietnamese people.
Yeah.
When he talks about, I guess it's his first tour, what he saw that made him go
the inoculation.
Crazy. The inoculation, or inoculating these kids after they went into this village. And after they left, the Vietnamese soldiers came back and hacked off the arms of all these kids. And he starts saying he was crying. And then he realized that the unbelievable strength it took for these guys to do that.
Yeah, dude.
More importantly, the will.
Yeah.
That's where he's like, if I had a division of these men, this war would be over very soon.
He says, we could have a quarter of the people that have been to Vietnam. If they were just of the will of these people, we could have won this war already with a quarter of the people that we had.
And that speaks to, this country didn't have the will to win the war. They don't have the will to do it because they know it's this nonsense war.
Right.
You know, you can come up with all these whatever reasons that you want, the domino theory, these guys are communists or whatever, but what does it matter in Vietnam? It's not like Vietnam's going to invade America.
Right. There you go. Yep.
And then he starts talking about the Time magazine and Lyndon Johnson saying the American people will agree, this and that. It's about the will to do what you're doing.
Right.
And he realized that the country that he signed up for does not have the will to fight this war. And then the next obvious question is, why are they there?
Right.
So I'm off the reservation. If we're going to fight this war, I'm going to fight the war for real, which involves asymmetric warfare, ferreting out double agents, winning the war.
Exactly. In the public's eye.
And, that's what the whole movie's about. That's what the whole movie's about, true. Dude. It's like,
but you, like I said, it's cool the way the writing is, that you learn that in that position through this guy who's, he's not even a POW. He's just, AWOL. Right. And just the readings that this younger captain who's going to find him and kill him, he kind of learns it and reveals to the audience throughout the movie. You get these little tidbits. Like I said, it's the monologues that he has throughout the movie. And it's just really well done. I like the way it's, the story's delivered.
So, the next scene, they're having these tribal people are having a ritual. The ritual is they're killing this, I don't know, cow or whatever. And Willard goes and kills Kurtz. And I think what happens is he realizes Kurtz wants to die.
Yeah.
And so he kills him. He says, I'm not even part of their effing army anymore. They were going to make me a major for this. I'm not even part of their effing army.
Mm-hmm.
So then, what I was saying earlier, it cracks me up that Lance is so strung out. He's just chilling this whole time with these tribal people. And then like Willard kills Kurtz, and then he's walking out and they're all worshiping Willard now as the new leader. Yeah. And he sees Lance is there worshiping him too.
He's like, yo,
just grabs
bro,
him.
You remember me?
He just grabs him like, yeah, you're coming with me, dude.
It's so good.
And then when he gets back on the boat, and it's like he turns the radio keeps reaching out to him, turns the radio off, and it's like that's the symbol of him turning off the army. He's done. Who knows that? Does he get back to America?
Yeah, and
does he make it back down the river?
I'm not
again?
the biggest fan of cliffhangers. I'm one of those who likes, some kind of finality to a movie, but it's completely appropriate here. No question about it.
Dude, idea for you. What if we write Apocalypse Now too?
I was just gonna say, is Apocalypse Now too? The sequel. I mean, I'm sure Hollywood's gonna write it soon. It's gonna suck ass.
Punished Willard, a man without a country. All right, let me have it. Give me your Kino rating on Apocalypse Now.
Kino rating, man. I'll tell you what. Watching it again just boosted it up even more. I'd give this a solid 9.2. Okay,
yeah.
This is, I think, my second highest rated movie behind Assassination. Movie's got it all. Like I said before, wardrobe and sets, just absolutely awesome. Perfectly accurate. Well, not perfectly accurate, but, really well done. Acting, incredible. Music, sounds, all that. This is actually my favorite war movie of any era, I would say. Patriot being a close second. No question about that. But, this is just, it's more of a psychological war movie, right? Mm-hmm. You still have the action scenes, but just really well done, dude. Like I said, the best part is piecing the story together through the letters of Kurtz. And then obviously you have those, because you want it to be a well-rounded movie. So you have those action scenes that you get throughout, like their little adventure up the river. But yeah, man, this is a solid 9.2 for me. Definitely rewatchable. Like you said, you could just have it on playing in the background. I don't know if it's like the best movie to have just playing in the background, but it's just entertaining. How about yourself?
Yeah. 10 out of 10 Kino rating.
Holy smokes.
You think about the effort that it took to make this movie. And what did we talk about last week? We talked about the authenticity of the sets.
Yeah, exactly.
This, again, you get just unbelievable sets, incredible shots in this movie, right? Again, soundtrack and score, especially when he's talking he's doing a voiceover and it cuts to like the boat just zipping down and it gets like those horns. The horns just enhance the gravity of the situation. Kurtz, and I love like the philosophy of the movie too, mm-hmm. because it's Kurtz basically realizing the absurdity of the war and decided to actually fight the war mm-hmm. for real. And his own government wants him dead because of that. Think of that insanity.
One thing I'll build on what you're saying about the sets is, dude, just think about when they go to Cambodia, that little temple, mm-hmm. that's a set, dude. That's not there. They had to build that.
Yeah, dude. like next level.
Yeah,
they don't do that kind of stuff anymore, dog.
They don't.
All those sets, you're right. When they go past the bridge and it's now hell mm-hmm. that they're in, all that stuff is unbelievable. Mm-hmm. Crazy level of just art.
Yeah, and I looked it up. That's actually not in Cambodia. They couldn't shoot there. They shot in the Philippines. So that whole set was built in the Philippines, but they scouted that area out and like made it its own little world, which to your point, it's like, yeah, dude, they're just not doing that nowadays, but cool. I wish they did.
Yeah. Imagine Apocalypse Now 2 and it's CGI.
It would not surprise me the least bit.
It's a CGI jungle. They digitally make Martin Sheen
wouldn't be
young again.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Oh God. Well, there you have it, folks. I mean, just an incredible end of Vietnam season. Apocalypse Now, another one in the books. I hope you enjoyed Vietnam season.
Catch you on the next one.